Well, now that I know that the show is going, what were we talking about? Because I was interested. If we could go take a step back.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Oh, we were talking about Bill Burr.
Yeah, we're talking about, welcome to the Bill Burr recovery group.
Yeah, I went into therapy after that episode.
Did you really?
I'm not even being kidding. I mean, I was having a depressive episode for a long time.
Right.
And I had these antidepressants next to my bed for a long time. And
you were taking them?
No, I hadn't decided to take them yet. I was hesitant.
Yeah.
And after that episode with Bill Burr, I came home, and that's when I started taking antidepressants, and I went to therapy.
Wow.
It was soul crushing.
And was it soul crushing because you felt like as an interviewer it was soul crushing, or just like on a human level? Like, do you know the levels where it felt that it hit you?
Right. Everything, man. My fans were, I don't know, but the audience were very harsh. As an interviewer, I felt like a failure. It was just off. It wasn't, it didn't feel that bad, but it was the reaction, the audience reaction to it afterwards. I mean, I knew I had goofed up and that it was not the best interview. And I was such a big fan of Bill Burr, obviously, who isn't. He's a legend. And you just, in your mind, have high hopes that you'll be able to get something good out of that.
Yeah, there's expectations, I feel like.
But there was people making like video essays about what a terrible interviewer I am.
Oh, really?
That's YouTube style. That's kind of stuff I'm somewhat used to. But it felt like a rock bottom for me, because I was having a hard time with the podcast and interviews in general, and that for me was just kind of like the culmination of a lot of stress.
Oh, that's interesting. So it was like, so in hindsight though, does it almost feel like it was supposed to happen? Like it was like, oh, I needed something that kind of made me look at stuff, or just gave me like a moment to reflect?
Well, I definitely needed something to push me, because taking antidepressants, going to therapy was like the best choice I ever made for me and my family, and professionally too. I mean, it's made everything better.
Really?
So, I mean, if it wasn't that, it would be something else. But
that was like a little bit of, somehow it was part of a catalyst. It was a fuse
definitely,
lighter.
It was that. And I had him on a second time somewhat recently, and it went great. So I'm happy to hear that. And he reached out. He said he wanted to do it. Huh. I was like, God bless, dude. Let's go. This is like Fear Factor for me. Round 2.
Yeah.
Ruined my life the first time. Let's go. And
that's interesting. Yeah, it was when he came in here, it was a strange experience, man. It was, I don't know. I just felt like he was a different person, not on podcasts, than he was on podcasts. It's almost like, but then also, I didn't really know him that great. And so maybe I just don't know how people are.
That's true. I wonder if he listens to these. Probably not.
Oh, I mean, I doubt he does. I mean, everybody's busy.
Yeah, he doesn't care what we think about him.
Mm-hmm. I listen to some of those murder things, where people get murdered. Some guy went walking into the woods in the Joshua Tree and fucking never came out.
And how do you hear that?
There's a podcast that's called like Missing People or something.
Do you feel like that when you talk about Bill Burr, like a missing person?
Oh, dude, I felt like it was a couple of minutes where afterwards I was just kind of wandering around, But I don't know. I just, I didn't know him that good.
Let me ask you this: when you guys ended, I mean, it was clearly you knew it wasn't going well during, or was it when you started the read?
No, I knew that there was something uncomfortable. I didn't know if. I thought for a second, like maybe I was going crazy, or I was like getting pranked.
You're getting in your head. What's going on?
Well, it was just an uncomfortable. I'm just like, oh, well, he and I obviously, there's only so much time that we probably. One of the reasons maybe we don't talk that much is because we.
Do you mind if I take these off?
No, it's fine. Is because we shouldn't talk that much.
But
I don't know what I thought. I just thought, here's a guy who is he's exactly what I thought. If I really would have looked at it, here's a guy who maybe this is exactly the way he is on stage. There's not a way there's no real difference, It's just, he's this rambling kind of like, if he's unhappy, he's unhappy, and he eternally disgruntled.
Right.
He's kind of, guy who's kind of fighting against his own probably ill wills and shit. That's like all of us are in some weird ways, but for him, maybe it's like just a different battle. And also that he likes to, that he's the center of attention a lot, I think. And so he might not be able to really notice how other people are feeling or reacting. That's kind of the vibe that I got at the end in hindsight.
So the thing is, like, I feel like most guests, 99% of guests, they're more gracious. You know, they won't take the opportunity if they see you like are uncomfortable or you goofed up or maybe you said like when he sees an opening, he like attacks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And it's the same way as comedy,
which is
really
fine. That's why he's so good at comedy.
Right.
But like he is unlike anyone else I've ever interviewed because the second time when I interviewed him, I really just like talked as little as I possibly could.
Yeah,
and that was the best. But you obviously have to handle each interview differently, but he was unlike anyone I had ever interviewed because
and I don't even really interview. He was on why? Finish that sentence. Sorry, I stepped on you.
Because he's not willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? And he will expose any chinks in your armor.
Yeah.
Because for him that's comedy, right?
Right.
And
for
he's
him,
gonna make a funny moment out of it.
Right.
But for me, I'm like, oh shit, dude, my fragile ego.
And for me, I think I'm good to rip on people if that's what we're doing. I think I never knew what we were doing. I think it's like I brought roller skates to a fucking sword fight.
That's funny.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Like. That's a good analogy.
So I think because in previous conversations I had with him, it had been more of a communication about kind of real stuff that was going on in my career and questions I had, you know, I was kind of looking up to him, I think also in some way for me as a role model, you know, and when you get a certain response from someone you have expectations on in your own mind, for me, when I get a response to them that they don't realize that I see them that way or it doesn't matter to them or whatever, and that's fine. It's its own world I built up in my head. For some reason, that hits harder a little bit, you know, where it's just a weirder dent. But for me, also, it's just like, I'm not even a fucking interviewer, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. We're doing our best, but I was just happy to sit down with him.
Yeah.
Just fucking, I think maybe we sat down maybe on the wrong day. Maybe we started, you know, I don't know, but stuff we were talking about off the podcast, when I brought it up on the podcast, it was like we'd never spoken off the podcast, and that seemed very weird to me.
I had the same reaction to him. But like you made this joke about, do you have a gun in your helicopter? But he just, I don't know why he took that so the wrong way.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That's just a funny, that's just a funny premise.
Yeah, I think at that point I had also at some point I'd kind of checked out, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I think I was kind of.
But you said to me that you don't want to do guests anymore.
I'm doing less guests.
I had the same reaction too. I was canceling episodes after that.
Oh no, I needed to cancel episodes way before that. I was trying to pare down. We were just trying to.
Why?
Just too much stress.
What do you mean? What's stress about what?
This year I just hit a level of just too much stress for me. Good evening, good afternoon, and other times. Thanks for watching that video you just saw. I mean, it was okay. But the next video you could watch could be way better. What if you watch a video right now that changes your life? Well, you could. Watch this one. Or watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Ah!